MGOL did get dumped and wasn't the best call. It was actually a very bad call on my part. But the same day, if you were following me on StockTwits, I posted a 200% gainer. I'm going to break that down for you, and then I'm going to show you some stocks I'm watching going forward. Small caps have just been, trading very weird lately, but I have some very big name stocks like PayPal, SOFI, NVDA, and some other stocks that you could do options with or just trade, as these have some very big catalysts coming up with earnings and even more catalysts. So we're going to be looking at those, and, SOFI might be a very good opportunity. The earnings are coming out on the 29th. And PayPal has a very big innovation day. The CEO just said he is going to shock the world. And, there's a lot of, hype around PayPal as this one has been dead. Analysts have been beating this one to death, putting downgrades on it pretty much every day for the last month. Or they're trying to push it down because we did have some options expiring on the 19th and they just don't want people to hit those. So is it because of that, or is it because they're trying to get cheaper shares? Even with these analyst downgrades, I've continued to pump this stock and say I'm bullish on it and continue to buy. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some very key dates and a very big innovation day where, PayPal is rolling out a bunch of new innovations on the 25th, which is in 7 days. But looking at ticker PHUN, I made a horrible call on MGOL, but luckily the same day I called out ticker PHUN for a 200% gainer. Now, I'm not just mapping down all the, pre-market volatile stocks and the top gainers. I'm actually looking at the ones that actually have a lot of potential. I'm not, anyone can just call all the pre-market gainers and map them down and say, okay, I called all these out, but I'm actually specifically handpicking ones that I'm actually trading and think have a good opportunity, because these are very high risk plays. Okay, but I'm going to tell you exactly how I was able to call this 200% gainer, and exactly how you should trade these stocks. And I'm going to show you a method that a lot of people use to map out their stocks, and I'm just briefly going to show you guys how I was able to call this 200% gainer. It's very basic and anyone can do it. And I did continue to raise my stop loss, as this one did hit 50 cents from 16 cents, and as soon as I got in, I put my stop loss in, right? So watching this stock is one of the most volatile stocks, one of the highest pre-market gainers, right? So here's what happened, right? This was a few days ago, right? This stock is actually going up like crazy today, but we're not looking at that. I'm going to show you how I was able to catch this trade. Now, a lot of people just look at the, top gainers list in the morning and pre-market very early. They map all these down and they just are looking at high of the days or pre-market highs and certain levels they like resistance and support, or just certain levels that they would like to get into play at. But with ticker PHUN, I was looking at the high of the day at 0.01548. Right here at this level, it broke out of it. You can see right here, it broke this level. It held over it on the 5-minute candle, came back down, and then started to break out. And this is where you would initially want to get in, right here, right? And then you would want to put a stop loss right under this at like 0.015, or just something where if it doesn't go in your favor, you just take your loss and move on, because you just broke a key level that you are confident it will break out of, has a good chance to break out of. And hundreds of millions of volume was coming. I think we had around 700 million volume very early. We ended up with almost 2 billion volume that day. So what happened with these plays? You map out resistance or just certain levels, target levels you would like to get in if it does break over. And that's what happened here at this level. I got in, and this one completely broke out all the way from 15 cents all the way to 50 cents, which was a 200% gainer. And what you want to do is, as these plays go up, like say it broke out to 30 cents, you want to put a stop loss at 20 cents. So you're already up a lot, even if it comes back down. Now, a lot of people don't like this, because what if it came back down and hit your stop loss and then exploded? It doesn't matter if it goes up that much. You're already up 30, 40, 20 to 30%. And if you're actually putting enough money in these plays, you should be fine with that profit, and you should continue to raise your stop loss, as this one did hit 40 cents. Raise your stop loss to 30 cents, because you're already up so much. There's just no point to stay in. It's going to come back and drop eventually. So here's what happened. Hit 50 cents and just absolutely dropped in after hours. This was because an offering came out. I'm gonna be honest, with most of these plays, you were just looking to scalp 10, 8, anywhere from 5 to 10, 15%, and just get out immediately and take your profits and run with. But with the high amounts, the way I played this one was I just had a stop loss and kept raising it, because I saw billions, a billion volume, just hundreds of millions of volume coming in. So that's why I stayed in. I just like, okay, well, it's already up so much, I'm gonna just keep raising my stop loss. So whenever that does happen and you think, this one is just going to continue to break out, volume is pouring in, you can just do it that way. But a lot of these plays, I'll be honest, I'm just getting out after 10% and just being done. And then if it does hit my stop loss before it even breaks out, I'm just, I just take the 3% loss or whatever. But with these plays, even if the offering didn't come out, people, could have had running after hours, but then people would dump their shares. It's always going to happen. But right now this one is up 70% right now, and that's after offering. And a lot of times these plays are highly shorted and they squeeze because of that. So actually watching this one as of right now might be a one to watch today, as it is up 70%, but I've already moved on from this play. So looking at ticker PYPL, guys, the CEO just came out with a very good interview saying they are basically working to leverage AI and focus on profitability, which their biggest focus should be profitability and innovations, which is what they're focused on, with a very big innovation day where they're rolling out a lot of innovations into PayPal. And I'm expecting a lot of news and a lot of stuff to be announced on the 25th. So we already have a lot of momentum here, and looking at the chart, we were in an uptrend for a while, guys. Actually, my $60 calls were printing, but as you can see, we're in a trend here, and this is actually starting to form an inverse head and shoulders on the daily. You can see the head right here, the shoulder right here, and then another shoulder forming right here, as long as this one does go up. So a big level to break out of. And I like this stock. They still are growing. Yes, they need to innovate. They have a lot of competitors. But on the 25th, we should see a lot of news, and I'm expecting this has a good chance to hit the $64 level, or even $62 to $64 when that within the next week or so. We'll just have to see how it plays out and what they announce. But going to shock the world. In the interview, he said that with his own words, and he basically said he is leveraging AI and focusing on profitability. So the much needed layoffs for all the work, they have way too many workers, which is, hurting their profits. I think a big layoff is coming, another big layoff, and I'm expecting that to be announced on the 25th or on earnings. So, we have the big innovation day rolling out on the 25th, which is a huge catalyst. We should hear a lot on that day. CEO didn't really say anything, but he was very optimistic, and it looks like he just didn't want to announce anything big until that day. So something big could be announced on the 25th. So you could get in right now and make some money. But keep in mind, we have struggled with this stock to reach certain levels. Especially, we just struggled a lot with this stock to break out of this area right here. So keep that in mind. If it does break the 64 and gets up to this level, it could gap up to $70 plus. But, if everything does line up right, we could see $70 in the near term, especially if earnings are good. Volume did double yesterday. We had around 20 million in total, actually 30 million in total volume, when average volume is around 15 million. So that's good. A lot of momentum, and a very big day on the 25th in 1 week. And then we have earnings on February 7th. So can we have some kind of big announcement? I am expecting a lot of big announcements on the 25th. They're rolling out their new innovations on the platform. But, the way the CEO is acting, obviously he can't say much on the interview, and he's just waiting for this date to announce a lot of different stuff. So we're just have to see how that plays out. And then, yeah, so looking at SOFI right now, this is one I've been watching very closely now. Earnings are coming out, I believe, on the 29th. Looking at SOFI, it broke a very key support level and could be headed to 750 or lower. Could be a very good opportunity for discounted shares if you think earnings will be good on the 29th. I mean, I've been trading for a lot of years, and trying to play earnings is very high risk because you never really know what's going on. There could always be stuff that hasn't even been mentioned that affects what they're looking at. But the main things to look at with earnings are, will they beat their EPS, their margins, their revenue forecasts, and what are their expectations for the forecast for the coming quarters and going forward and stuff like that. So are they going to hit or miss the targets, obviously, and what would their forecast be going forward? So guys, basically I told you SOFI, if it drops under the very big support here around 790, it could easily drop under the 750. So SOFI has done that, trading at 750 right now, guys. So could this be a buy opportunity for SOFI with earnings coming up? There's been a lot of mixed downgrades with analysts. Some of them have actually came in and raised their target. A lot of them have dropped their price target. So this one is sitting at $7.50 and could be a very good buying opportunity as earnings are coming out on the 29th. And if those are positive, obviously this one I think can get back to $10 plus a share. And I actually, on my last video talking about SOFI, I said you should be watching to see if it does get to the, this was when it was trading over $10. I was like, obviously, this one could easily get back down to $8, and then you should load up. But now it's at $7.50, right? So watching this one right now, you could have a very big opportunity to buy right now and then swing trade it into earnings and, cash back out at $10, or at least, sell some of your shares, take some profit and leave the rest in. It just depends if you, if you want to think of it as a long-term investment, which I think this could be a good long-term investment, or do you just want to secure profit? So that's what we're looking at with SOFI. I had a very big dip, guys, and this is just one you have to watch. Looking at this next support level, if it does break 727 right here, which if it does break that, obviously it's going to go into the high sixes, and we'll just have to see what happens after that. And if it breaks 650, it's going to be very ugly. So we're trying to find the bottom right here before earnings, and you could flip this one and make a lot of money, as this one could easily get back to $10 plus. So that's what I'm looking at with SOFI. You can get NVDA, had a head and shoulders pattern right here, and this is exactly where you should have shorted it. As soon as it got back to this right shoulder, very bearish pattern. If it did go down, it did go down and it held down, and this is where you should have shorted. This was actually at the same time the China chip restriction ban, which was also bearish in this case. So you could have shorted this one right here all the way from 468. You wanted to confirm this drop, of course, see if it held, and you could have shorted this one all the way back down to this support right here at 410 and made a lot of money. It did bounce back, so it broke an all-time high at $500, broke out of this level right here. Actually got rejected, and you could have shorted or some puts here at this level once it did drop, because this is a very key level psychologically, and just an all-time high, and just very hard level that they've struggled to break out of in the past. You could have shorted this one or some puts right here and made some money, but then it came back at this level, got rejected again, came back down, and finally had the strength to break out of $500 and actually closed above it. And that's when I became bullish, and I actually bought some calls at once it did do that. I'm going to show you right here on StockTwits. You can follow me at 6K_investor. I said calls are printing right here, and it's still up 6% since I called that. Okay, so right here I said this was on the day that it broke over 500. I was going to see if it did close above 500 the whole day, and then after hours, and it did. I said bullish if it holds over at 500, and it went up 13%. Now that may not be that much, but with these big name stocks, if you are doing call option, here's the thing, you do 550 calls or whatever you're doing, right? But if you're doing call options or whatever options you're doing, and they go up 3%, you're already up, in a lot of cases you're already up 100%. So with options, you can make a lot of money if it does go up just 1% in a lot of cases, or just even half of a percent. It just depends on how long it is and everything like that, and the momentum you have, and will it keep going up. So with call options on NVDA, you could have made a lot of money, even though it's up 12%. That's could make you hundreds of percents of gain. So just keep that in mind with options. You can see right here on StockTwits, I said 550 is coming. I said that at 536, but I already told you guys I was bullish, as it did close over 500 on that day. It did close over 500. So NVDA, I'm not in the play anymore, and it's at 572. So still breaking out, but it's already up. I could expect a pullback, or who knows what's going to happen, but I'm not in this play anymore as of right now. Stock right now is just kind of unpredictable at this moment with the chart. So I'm not really going to mess with it right now. Just wait for some things to happen and stuff like that. So with NVDA, you never want to play around with earnings either, because they always have seemed to break out of their or always beat their estimates. So you should never play around with this stock during earnings, or really earnings are very risky plays in general, because if they do, it just really depends if they miss or hit their forecasts, or what their expectations are with their EPS, revenue, everything like that. So looking at PayPal, it's already up to $61, and this is one of the most important stocks to watch this week. Now, a lot of people are hating on this one. A lot of analysts have been downgrading, but here I am still telling you guys that I'm confident in this play, and I'm not a financial advisor. I could be wrong. I just made a very bad call on MGOL, but luckily, the same day on StockTwits, I called a 200% gainer. So hopefully that did make up for it. But MGOL was just a very bad call on my part. I just, lacks volume right now and just doesn't look good. But, when earnings come out, or we get it just has to have a catalyst, because volume's dying out. Needs more eyes from retail. Looking at it right now, it's down 2%. It actually is trying to hold up, but just the volume is not there, man. So just needs a catalyst or something to move it back up, because you have to have volume and buyers to move the stock price up. You have to have demand. So that's what we're looking at with MGOL. Made a very bad call on this one at 80 cents. It dropped to 50 cents. But, I was actually trying to look at, it was at 83 cents. And I thought if it does break this $1, I thought it would have enough momentum to break $1. If it did that, it could gap up all the way to $2 plus, or at least it would have a next leg up after breaking this key level right here. Just never did that, got rejected. So that's what we're looking at with this one. Looks like it's consolidating right now and just not enough volume to move. So volume's dead, and until something comes out, I don't see this one moving back up. But you know, we just need more eyes on it. Still could have a lot of potential, just needs volume and more eyes from retail. So guys, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.